Alright, so we're just going to quickly attach these two with the Loctite construction adhesive. Now this is about to look fire. I should honestly probably pick this up now. Let's see.
Looks like it barely stopped it. That would hurt. Alright, base plate technically can stop it.
So I'm just gonna go across this, try to open it up. The strike face is just simply epoxy bonded onto these two HDP 3A backer plates. Looks like we hit a solid tile right about here. And then we came into this plate. These two were bonded using Loctite construction adhesive. Bit of a softer material to allow them to deform a bit more, which it looks like it did do that. Some pretty decent delamination between the first plate. Second plate looks pretty intact still. Obviously it did deform, but it didn't delaminate as much compared to the first plate. And then this is obviously the hole from the round. That's where majority of the round penetrated, but it did not go through. As you guys can see, definitely did deform it quite a bit. Probably would have been less if it was a bit centered compared to this edge shot, but I mean, let's see. Even then, that's a bit higher. So about 30 millimeters of back face. All in all, that performed pretty well. This is like very soft now. Just a higher quality PE plate probably would have made this perform even better. And obviously this is like a very edge shot, so more towards the middle probably would have done even better. So I think that did pretty good. So let's just go over to the base plate. Let's kind of do this in order. Strike face, obviously. Comparatively, I'd probably say the front was held together obviously a bit better. The laminating layers up front, I think, did help with fragmentation coming out. But honestly, I'd rather add like 2 more layers of carbon than that stainless steel mesh. I literally already forgot. I can just look at the footage, but I'm pretty sure the PE wasn't very well adhered to this backer piece. I mean, maybe this front layer, but then this front layer delaminated from the main portion of the backer. So maybe just keeping the stainless steel mesh on the back portion, because it does seem to have kept this carbon fiber. And in fact, all the backers, for the most part, well adhered, except for the one where the Kevlar was the layer that was attaching to it. Just because this Kevlar doesn't really seem to stick to anything, actually. Like, it barely is sticking to this. Like, I can literally just pull this up, like. But yeah, so removing the stainless steel on the front part and just keep it on the back. Everything seems really solid still. Obviously these are individual tiles, so these areas should be perfectly fine. So this is the strike face. As you guys can see, hit about around here, hit this tile. These are perfectly fine right next to it. These ones kind of got moved out of the way. We're sort of coming out of the side, but they're still, for the most part, intact. It's a bit of a broken area. But yeah, honestly, pretty effective. That one piece got taken. As you can see, this is the area in which the round went. We don't know yet if it came out the back or not. This unfolded itself. This back portion was essentially a trauma reducer, except it didn't really perform very well as a trauma reducer. So yeah, if you were gonna use this UD Aramid, you probably want to bump that up quite a bit. PE portion significantly deformed, as you can see here. And I can literally see part of the round in the PE pretty clearly. Try and get most of this out of your way so you guys can see that. Hopefully it'll focus up. But that looks like a pretty significant portion of the round right there. This is what we pulled out. A bit overexposed, but very, very cool. I believe M855A1 has a copper core, but has a silverness to it, so I'm not sure if it's a bimetal, if it's like electroplated or something. Guess this could be like steel from the tip just being deposited onto here as it like sort of goes through it. But yeah, super cool. So this did perform roughly as well as the control plate. Honestly, I'd say it's a bit more of an edge shot, so higher back face is to be expected the closer you get to the edge. Slightly less, actually. About 2 millimeters less of back face. On a closer to the edge shot than the control plate. And the round was stopped in this PE. So honestly, that just tells you how much the carbon fiber did. This is only 8 layers of carbon fiber. And so like what? I think it's probably, this has stainless steel mesh in it, so it's a bit more than what it should be. But even with the stainless steel mesh, you're looking at 0.15 inches of material compared to 1 layer of this PE, which is 0.20, which is what the base plate is. So 2 layers of PE performed worse than the carbon fiber and PE. And the carbon fiber is obviously thinner. I'm not sure about weight wise. It's probably lighter or closer to it, just because the epoxy is pretty heavy. But yeah, so less material, better performance. So that's something to know. Just put that over there. Obviously, strike face, about the exact same thing. I'm not gonna take this strike face apart just because it's gonna look basically exactly the same. This is the backer. Instead of carbon fiber, we have S2 glass. Quite a bit of delamination compared to the carbon. Just probably because the way it broke. This one sort of obviously has better elongation, I think. And it's not as brittle, so pulled out more. A bit more of a damage area, so multi-hit capability might be a bit lower with this glass. Looks like maybe the round had a bit harder time getting through this portion. Not really sure on that. I mean, it's already seems basically be coming apart. Maybe I can't pull it apart just as is. So yeah. And sort of compare the damage on the carbon one versus the S glass. So yeah, not too much going on there. What is more interesting is, however, the backer, which is PE and then carbon fiber on the back portion, which, as you can tell, performs really well in terms of limiting back face deformation. I mean, like, this is amazing, honestly. We're looking at like basically nothing here. Like, compared to this, look at this. Probably like half the deformation, honestly. So that's really cool. Did it stop it? It looks like maybe it just broke the back. I think it did stop it. We'll take this off right now and get a closer look. So yeah, here's the plate. Doesn't really look like anything went through, but it doesn't really look like there's anything here to tell me that it stopped it, you know, like any remnants of the round. Guess it just broke up. Which is pretty surprising, honestly, because the strike face material is the same for all three of these plates. So the core should have been roughly damaged the same amount. But obviously I don't see anything here. Now, did it go through? I'm not really sure. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it just cracked the back, and then obviously this sheared. But I don't see a very obvious like exit hole anywhere. Let's get a better close up. And I don't really see a hole in here either, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it's definitely stopped that. Okay, maybe not definitely, but I think it did stop it. Maybe if we can get like a couple layers in. Not too much delamination. Although you couldn't go wrong with a higher quality PE. I mean, from where the main damage is, right here, and then you immediately flip it over, should be roughly right in this area. And as you can see, there's no hole there. Oh, look, a freaking smiley face. And then obviously there's no hole on the back side either, so don't think this round went through. It might have skipped out the side, as it might have happened with a lot of the other ones as well. Oh, that definitely hurt. As you can see. But yeah, I don't think it went through. And like I said, back face, very, very minimal. See this cracking of the carbon fiber in the back really took up a lot of energy along with its stiffness. On a higher threat, that might be a bit worse because it won't let the PE deform as much. But for this threat, where the round was basically had no energy left, it definitely helped with the back face. So yeah, very impressive. Plate number 2. Plate 1, unfortunately, performed the worst. This was a mainly 100% fiberglass backer design. 20 layers of S2 glass and 10 layers of E glass. This is the back of the strike face, as you can see. It was wrapped in this same Kevlar as the other ones, and therefore it didn't attach very well to the backer, just because for some reason this doesn't laminate very well. And obviously it came off. This is the back of the strike face. Pretty significant damage to the one tile that it did hit. The surrounding tiles look mostly intact. As pretty much the same as the other ones. There is a piece of the round right there, the center of this hole. Looks to be copper, so it's honestly probably part of the core. Which means it was breaking it up. Okay, never mind. This looks like jacket, but I could be wrong. But yeah, not really much to go over here. Looks like it came out pretty clean, honestly. Bit of a back face, not too much. Maybe I'll see if I can get this Kevlar wrap off and we'll see a bit more on the delamination that it had on the fiberglass. So here it is, the plate. Underneath. I'm gonna start off on the immediate backer to the strike face. So S-glass and carbon fiber. Honestly, they performed pretty much the same. I'd say the S-glass maybe performed slightly better. The S-glass is obviously heavier than the carbon fiber. This is an 8.9 ounce weave, and this is a 6 ounce weave. This is 10 layers, and this is 8. And they performed pretty similar. This being 2 ounces lighter, I believe, for the entire composite. So, if I were to make like a new and improved plate, which I might do in the future, carbon fiber is what I would probably use. So yeah, get that out of the way. Carbon fiber immediately backing the strike face, I think, is a better option than S-glass. In terms of the strike face lamination, this Permatex 5-minute epoxy didn't seem to hold the tiles as well. I mean, it held this one relatively well, but on here, it appears the Loctite construction adhesive held a majority of the tiles. Besides this one tile better than the Permatex adhesive did. So just something to note there. Next, I'm gonna remove the stainless steel mesh on the front portion. We're gonna keep it on the back portion just because it held the backing material to the strike face relatively well in both cases. See, this tile is very well adhered to the backing material, and the backing material didn't separate from the stainless steel mesh basically at all in either scenario. So stainless steel mesh on the back, very good. Stainless steel mesh on the front, kind of a waste, honestly. It's not really necessary. And it adds 0.04 inches of thickness to the thickness of the plate, so it's not really doing much in terms of stopping fragmentation on the front or keeping anything adhered to the tiles, and it's just adding unnecessary thickness. So remove the stainless steel mesh on the front and just add probably 2 more layers of carbon. Strike face wise, backers. In terms of backers, obviously the S-Class performed not so well. The UD Aramid as a sort of trauma reducer probably could work if you bumped it up. I think this is 10 layers, so maybe if you had 20, it might be worth it. But honestly, I think if you were gonna worry about trauma or back face, might as well go with this one. This design performed really well. We have literally only 5 layers of carbon fiber on the back, and it reduced the back face by about half, maybe even more than half. Comparatively, so this is, I think, the best performing plate in terms of the backer. Obviously nothing went through, just sort of cracked to the back. Could add maybe like 2 layers of Kevlar on the back to help it stay together a bit better. But other than that, this performed really well in terms of back face. And I think that's about it in terms of conclusion. So yeah, just comment down any ideas you guys might have for me, any project ideas, what you guys think about the results of this test. Honestly, very surprising. I thought the carbon fiber on the back of this PE would diminish the PE's capability to deform and therefore absorb the impact. But turns out I was completely wrong, and it was actually the best performing backer there was. And yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, write down any project ideas, and I'll see you guys in the next video.